out of it. Now, I'll explain that in just a second. So, qualified dependents, we'll start at the very top. Okay, qualified dependents age 18 to 24. You can get a one-time $500 payment if they qualify. That's ages 18 to 24 years old. There still is a one-time payment of $500 possible you can get. So you got to check into that. Sorry, I'm drinking my coffee, this late at night, keep myself wide awake so I can get this news to you. We got to keep going. Okay. Children 5 and younger, you'll get a total of $3,600 possible depending on your income. And it's $300 a month that'll be distributed out starting in July. Now, if your children are 6 and up, you're going to get $3,000 to $3,600 for children 6 and below. And it's $250 a month you'll receive from July till December. So it starts to drop off. Now, the amount of money you're going to get starts to drop off at $75,000 per individual. So if you're one individual, $75,000 a year income before taxes, then it'll kind of drop down $50 for every $1,000 you make over that amount. So couples is $150,000 a year. Remember, every $1,000 you make drops down $50 a month on that. So, and this is kind of a scary deal for a lot of people. Now, a lot of people might want to opt out of this because if there's a mistake or you make more money or something changes in your income, you may owe the IRS for this money. So if things change, you're going to owe them. It's a cabal. They did bump up the child credit at the end of the year. You can claim. So I think it's by $1,000. I don't know if it's going to actually dive into that original $2,000 child tax credit. Looks to me like it's going to. So there might be a little less at the end of the year if people are relying on that big bulk amount of money it's supposed to come in to kind of help them get through the year. I know that a lot of people do that. If you're overpaid, you'll owe the IRS. Now, owing the IRS is not a fun thing. It's never going to be a fun thing. Now, let's get into this. So we have a housing market that's completely a crisis. It's a housing market, and even if you're a buyer and you're out there trying to find a place and you have the money, it's still a housing crisis, especially in St. George and other places. But for those paying rent, it's a complete rental crisis, just a complete rental crisis. So this is what's happening. In order to keep people in their places without having to be kicked out and evicted or rely more on the tax money and to get more funding through subsidies, they're offering this amount of money to keep people in their homes. My opinion, including the explosion of prices, the inflation we're actually facing right now. So this extra $300 or $250 a month per kid. Now, if you have 3 kids, that's a sizable amount of money you're going to get. Now, my take on this, you say I'm wrong or not, but I see the writing on the wall. The writing on the wall is we are subsidizing a crisis in the housing and rental market. We're also subsidizing a crisis in inflation. So this is basically money going out that leaves out the single working person, the man, the woman that's out there working hard, trying to make a living, working 60 hours a week, sometimes just trying to afford a place to live because rent's $1,200, $1,300 a month, and on the best day, and they're trying to work a job for $15 an hour. So a lot of people are taking the overtime to meet the demand that's going through the roof because of the money that's being stimulated in the economy and the remote workers. Well, it's a constant. It's just a round and round. So the feds are stepping in with this $1.9 trillion bill. And they're saying, okay, wait a minute, we're going to give you guys, if you have kids. So if you have 3 kids, you're going to get $750 to $900 a month stimulus into your pocket from July through December. That's where they're saying, well, these people are kind of going to burn through their $1,400. And if you had kids, you got a bunch more money, $600 per kid. So now we're going to make sure we keep these guys rolling because of why? Why would that be? Because of COVID? No, it's not because of COVID. The issue with that is people are still getting their unemployment for COVID till July. Then there'll be another bill. Sorry, my allergies are killing me. There'll probably be another bill that'll come up after this July deadline for the next COVID, unemployment that's going out. But this is to keep people from completely crashing. It's a great housing market when you have, buyers coming in with cash and saying, oh, I'll buy that $400,000 or $350,000 home today. While everybody else just sitting there, I got approved for a loan. Well, it doesn't matter because you don't have $50,000 above the asking price. So the true asking price of a property is actually higher when that comes out. And also, you don't know where the lumber end is going to come. This is a stopgap. That's all this is a taxpayer taxpayer-funded stopgap. Now they say just they increase the end of the year money for per child for credit, but realistically, we're having to subsidize for the kleptocracy that's happening in the housing market. We're having to subsidize for the kleptocracy that's happening in the price of goods and services. So realistically, the wages are what keeps people in their homes. The wages now, a low wage, you can say, okay, well, they're working $9 an hour, and that's just a starting job. Okay, but realistically, if you don't have the option to do that, we have to have people to fill that void. Anyway, people making $9 an hour, subsidized workers. They have to be subsidized by something or somebody subsidizing that work, and that's not a shameful thing. Believe me, this country could not move ahead without subsidized workers. It can't, because that wage is too low. It's not a mean thing. The employers can't. Some employers cannot pay you more than $9 an hour. They can't. They can't keep up with this. It's too much. And what is it now? The corporate tax is going to go up. So not only are these businesses that are employing people and they're trying to do the American dream and be an entrepreneur and get a business going, now they're going to get hit with higher corporate taxes. So this needs to be completely revamped. The trial run of COVID crisis, a pandemic slamming America, bazillions of dollars just printed off the printer, can't afford to make the coins because it costs money to make the coins. We can't use cash because, that's because they're printing off so much funny fiat money. They couldn't afford to make the coinage to match the amount of money they're putting out. You know what $1.9 trillion in dollar bills and coinage looks like? Whoa. We'd have to have mines working 24/7 all over the country just to fill that void of metal it takes to make that much stuff. Just not to mention the printing, the making, manufacturing of $2.3 trillion more. Okay, we don't want to get into that anymore. But realistically, we have a large population coming across the border unchecked. You guys can look it up yourself. They're being allowed in. Okay, now that's going to fill that void of service workers. Now, how is that going to make things better? So the people in the service working industry are going to be now competing with people that have just come here, that just, $10,000 a day, that has to fill these jobs. They're going to have to fill jobs somewhere. Well, now that section of the population that's already been subsidized, it's having a hard time making it through, is going to get this credit for all the children they have. But in the end, what good is it when someone can compete that's being completely subsidized, that's coming here looking for work with federal money handed to them and state money handed to them to compete with jobs that are American jobs? We just barely got out of a pandemic. We barely got people back to work. This makes absolutely no sense. Unless there's a ladder where the people that are now in the service industry that are making $9, $10 an hour, maybe 12, are going to be bumped up to a higher rate. Now, it's either going to come from taxes, which is going to be another subsidy. But there in this bill, there's this huge amount of money. I can't remember exactly how much it was. It's billions of dollars into basically HUD and rebuilding houses and into Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac type stuff. They're going to take a bunch of money and put it there. Now, is that going to be what's going to happen? They're going to rebuild cities, rebuild community housing that's fallen apart in Michigan and other places, and they're going to make these places better. Now, is this going to be a pool that's going to be drawn from, taxpayer funded, to get people into homes? What's going to happen to the people that are struggling and fighting every day with low education? I mean, I have a low education. I have absolutely no degrees. I don't have nothing. I'm a regular knuckle dragger that has really no ability to advance forward into a higher paying job. Not my fault due to auditory problems. I do have severe auditory problems. It's just something I just can't fix. You can't fix things when people have issues. But there's going to be no safety net. Now, the $15 an hour thing was to come in to make it mandatory $15 an hour minimum wage. Now, you got to really think about that. So they knew the deflation of the dollar was coming. They knew by printing all this funny money, the dollar's value was going to go down. It was just the value is going to drop. Such Bitcoin and other reserve currencies are now seeing the safe haven of people abandoning it. Why the stock market's going through the roof. They're going, mass amounts of profit. CEOs and global technocrats are making more money than they've ever made in the history of Wall Street. And then they will continue. They'll sop up this money like a giant sponge. As more money's printed off and more pet projects are going out, the more money they make. It all ends up in their hands. Whatever you do ends up back in the corporate hands and in the stock market. That's where it all goes. That's wealth. That's how it works. If you're not a part of that, you're really not a part of the economy other than just a cog in the wheel. So we have to really think about this. You have to set back the government subsidizing families is a sign that there's something seriously, seriously wrong with this new economy that's being created. Now, subsidized workers is not a new thing. And absolutely nobody should be offended by taking a subsidy. If you're not in that ability, if you're not in that bracket, with through education or skills, there is it's a whirlwind. It really, really is. And you should never blame these people. It is. I've seen people suffer, and I've suffered and starved myself because of issues in my past. And I'm never going to hack on people like that. They deserve so much more. And it's not a communist thing to say, because communism is this. That's communism. Communism is $1.9 trillion of fiat money. $1 trillion before that. Another trillion before that. $2.3 trillion. Federal Reserve just print and throwing it in every direction. That's not capitalism. Capitalism is, I do better than you do. That's how I get the customers, and that's how I build my business, and I become successful. Instead, we have government subsidies going in every direction, including the airports and the cruise ship liners. We're bailing out everybody, bailing out everything. And we have been for a very long time. Very long time. So in the new economy, there has to be a place for the average working American. There has to be a place for those making under $20, $22 an hour. As prices increase, $20 an hour is not going to be enough anymore. It's not going to be enough. Believe me, this is the devaluation of the dollar and the inflationary effect that we're entering into an inflationary period. And it's a big inflationary period. This is what catch-up is. This is what, when you make an action, there's an equal or greater reaction. We are now experiencing a reaction, and we're going to continue, and that's why this is a stopgap. My opinion is they need to stop printing money. Period. Stop printing money. They could possibly do the infrastructure bill. $5 billion already coming out of Governor Cox to fix roads, when he's $600,000 or 600 mil. What he said is like $600 million short on roads through gas taxes every year, but they make up with other taxes they have. I mean, the governor's already admitting he doesn't have enough to cover the influx of people in the state of Utah. The infrastructure in general. Why the people moving here and paying cash for homes have that much money, but how much are they going to contribute to the roads? And the road tax on our gas isn't already meeting that. So $5 trillion here, then we're going to get some more. The insanity's got to stop. Insanity's got to stop. This type of subsidizing is great for the people that is suffering through a boomer fake fiat economy. Fake fiat economy, that's what this is. Subsidized by taxpayers. The only way we can get back to business as usual is to throw the COVID thing out the window. Done with the COVID thing. Close the southern border. Stop the drugs. Stop the drugs. Stop them. I mean, all out war on drugs, real war on drugs. Stop fentanyl. Stop heroin. Needs not be here. We need to control that completely. We have to control our borders, keep our cap on immigrants and people seeking sanctuary here. Yes, if they're fleeing a country, and I do understand that. But they can't compete with workers that have already gone through the worst year that most 90% of us have ever experienced, except for the 10% that has made more money during the pandemic. A huge amount of money during the pandemic. The richest men in the world have gotten richer. There's something wrong with this. And the corporate taxes are going to go up. And that's going to hurt the small businesses that have just gotten out of this stupid pandemic. And we don't even know where we're at in the pandemic, guys. We have no clue. Believe me, we still don't know. We're still at odds with what the future holds with the pandemic. And we don't have enough ammunition to fight. We have to pull another $2 trillion out. So a variant comes along and wipes out all the vaccines. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? We don't control the virus. The virus will eventually control us. It will mutate and it will become something much, much stronger, or it can mutate and become something stupid. Or it could just be like the flu. But we have to have that reserve. We have to have a contingency plan. But we have to get America back to work. But it does not matter getting America back to work if they can't afford to take part in the American dream. They can't. We're not going to all live in college dorms. All the younger generations fighting for a home are going to have to compete with triple-digit figure people from Silicon Valley that can now work in their basement like I am here, which is utterly ridiculous for the rest of the population. You can't compete. That's why the guys on the hill have their giant house, but they're also affecting Main Street America. They're affecting the house along off of Main Street that's going for $350,000. This is a housing bubble. This is an everything bubble on steroids. Mark my words. One thing goes wrong. One thing goes wrong, and the entire economy will crash, just completely crash. It's not going to take much to take this this wavering economy or this staggering economy. It's a great American experiment. The problem is you're in that experiment. You're in it. We're all in it. And not to be doom and gloom, but this is what a podcast is about. We're supposed to discuss these issues that are facing Main Street America, small town America. You can't go buy a house on the side of Cedar City Main Street that's nearly 100 years old for under $250,000. And you're making, and that's a 2% interest rate. Well, whoop-de-doo. Whoop-de-doo. It doesn't matter. That 2% interest rate is great. It makes my payment lower. Yay. It's still not going to help everybody because you can't build a house or even compete when a guy walks up with 50 grand on top of that and says, I want that house. So you're just out. You're just out. And it's happening all around us. So thanks for watching. It's a huge thing. Check into your child tax credit. Remember, if it's going to affect you when you file at the end of the year and you possibly could owe money, you need to find out first before July and opt out of this thing. Okay, just giving you guys a heads up. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And check into it. Make sure you know where it is. Also, those of you that's got the businesses, check into the increase in the business taxes, and see where you stand with that. And remember, everybody's human beings. Everybody just wants a good life. Okay, we all just want something to come home to and to love our families and to raise our families and be with the people we love. That's what this is all about. That's what every bit of this is about, guys. So remember that. Love people. Don't be mad at people. Don't be rude to people. Don't hurt people's feelings. Don't walk up the gas pump or the station and be mad because your card didn't work. Or don't be mad at the grocery store clerk because something happened. We have to remember suicides are up exponentially. Our kids are struggling in school because of COVID. This is a shocking time for all of us. And it's something that's going to affect every single one of us one way. And it already has affected us. But just remember to care for your neighbor and help people. If you see them struggling, help them. I gave two guys $20 today. I was at Market Grill. Great place to eat, guys. By the way, Market Grill is fantastic. Love them. Go to Market Grill, check it out. Brad's Food Hut, Hermes, great people. Love them all. Amber K's Diner, awesome people. But I walked up these two people. They were saying, hey, come here. And I'm trying to deliver and bring stuff in. And I walk over there holding cheese. And the guy's like, hey, was there something I can do to help? Something I was explaining, I'm just a worker, I'm just a guy that works for a living. And the one guy on the side was saying, hey, I'm hungry. But I know he was incapacitated through alcohol, but he was hungry. And I walked inside and I did exactly what my mind wouldn't leave me alone. It was telling me, you cannot, Rick, do this. You need to give him what you got. And I walked out there and the guy was walking in to use the bathroom. I said, I didn't realize you told me you was hungry. I'm not going to stand by and see somebody hungry. I'll give you the food on my plate to see somebody hungry. So I handed him $20 and off they went. They may have went to the liquor store, but realistically, it's about caring about your fellow human beings next to you. They need your help. A lot of people are suffering. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Allergies getting bad again. I can only take so long of this. And remember, Good and Cold Distributing. Contact me. I'll put my stuff at the bottom. And you guys have a great night. Hopefully I don't get on here for another rant, but I appreciate every single one of you guys. And let's get this podcast moving. And 45 D's Utah and WSM 45. And I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching.